In this video, we're diving into what LLC liability protection actually covers and where its limits lie. What's going on, everyone? My name's Eric Hunsaker, and on this channel we cut through the fluff to help you make smarter business decisions when it comes to your LLC. Now, maybe you've heard that forming an LLC or a limited liability company is like putting on a bulletproof vest against lawsuits. But have you ever wondered whether that vest has any weak spots? People often assume that once they have an LLC, nothing can reach their personal assets. But the reality is a bit more nuanced. So by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly which liabilities your LLC can shield you from, which ones it can't, and how to fortify your protection. So here's a question to ponder. If your business partner accidentally injures someone while working, are you personally on the hook? What about if you sign a contract and your company can't fulfill it? We'll explore scenarios like these and many more. Understanding the difference between contractual obligations, tort claims, and personal wrongdoing is key to appreciating the scope of LLC protection. The basics of limited liability. Limited liability means that owners, also called members of an LLC, are not usually responsible for the company's debts and obligations beyond their investment in the business. When you form an LLC, you create a separate legal entity. This entity can own assets, enter into contracts, and be sued in its own name. If the company faces bankruptcy or gets hit with a lawsuit, creditors typically go after the company's assets, not the owner's personal belongings. This structure is different from sole proprietorships and general partnerships, where the owners and the businesses are legally the same. In those forms, a business debt is your personal debt. The LLC breaks that link and is why it's such an attractive option for entrepreneurs. Coverage 1: debts and contracts of the business. When the company owes money. Now, one of the clearest areas of protection is contractual liability. If your LLC signs a lease, takes out a loan, or buys supplies on credit and the business later fails, the other party generally cannot collect from your personal bank account or seize your personal property, so long as you didn't personally guarantee the debt. The creditor can only pursue the LLC's assets. So imagine you run a consulting firm through an LLC. The firm borrows $50,000 to expand. Business slows and the LLC can't repay the loan. The lender can sue the LLC and potentially repossess business equipment or seize funds in the LLC's bank account. However, they cannot automatically garnish your personal wages or sell your car unless you personally guaranteed the loan or pledged personal collateral. If you did sign a personal guarantee, you've waived the liability protection for that particular obligation. We'll talk more about that one later. Contracts with vendors and landlords. LLCs also protect you from contract disputes. So suppose your company enters a long-term contract to purchase goods from a supplier. If the supplier sues because the company can't pay or wants to back out of the agreement, the lawsuit targets the LLC. The limited liability shield prevents the supplier from naming you personally unless there's evidence of fraud or a personal guarantee. This principle applies to leases, service contracts, and most other agreements entered into by the company. Co-owners and employees. In multi-member LLCs, liability protection covers you from debts created by another member, manager, or employee acting on behalf of the company. For example, if your business partner uses company credit to buy equipment and then disappears, the debt is the LLC's, not yours personally. As long as you didn't personally co-sign the purchase, your personal assets are shielded. Coverage 2: liability for employees and co-owners' actions. Another major area of protection is vicarious liability, also called liability for the actions of others. If an employee or co-owner commits negligence while performing job duties, the LLC can be held responsible, but non-involved owners typically are not. So let's use an example. Suppose you own a landscaping company structured as an LLC. One of your crew members accidentally damages a client's property or causes an injury while on the job. The harmed party sues your company. In many cases, only the LLC's assets and insurance coverage are on the line. You personally aren't liable for the employee's negligence unless you were directly involved or you failed to supervise in a way that crosses into personal wrongdoing. Co-owners who weren't involved also remain protected. Similarly, if a co-owner commits negligence or wrongdoing without your knowledge, the LLC may be liable, but the uninvolved owners generally are not. This aspect of LLC protection gives peace of mind, knowing that you're not responsible for every mistake that others make. Coverage 3, your personal creditors versus the LLC. The liability shield also works in reverse. Your LLC's property is generally protected from your personal creditors. If you personally owe money, say you default on a personal loan or a credit card, your creditors usually cannot seize assets owned by the LLC. Instead, they may obtain a charging order, a court order that directs the LLC to pay any distributions owed to you directly to the creditor. In most states, that's as far as they can go. They cannot compel the LLC to dissolve or take control of the business to pay your personal debt. However, state laws differ, especially for single-member LLCs. Some states allow more aggressive remedies, like foreclosing on your LLC ownership interest, and this is one reason why even as a single owner, you want to keep your personal finances healthy. If you have personal debts that could jeopardize your membership interest, consult an attorney about additional asset protection strategies. Coverage 4, acts of the business itself. Aside from contracts and vicarious liability, the LLC can protect you from liabilities arising from the business's activities. If your company manufactures products and one of them malfunctions and injures someone, the injured party may sue the company. The LLC structure keeps those claims directed at the business assets, not your personal savings. Similarly, if your company unintentionally violates a regulatory rule and faces fines or penalties, those liabilities remain with the LLC. You may be involved if you personally directed the illegal activity, but if you were unaware and not personally negligent, the shield stands. Where LLC protection stops. Key exceptions. Limited liability isn't absolute. Let's explore scenarios where the protection doesn't apply. Your own wrongdoing or negligence. The most important limitation is that you are always responsible for your own actions. If you personally injure someone, commit fraud, or knowingly break the law, the LLC will not protect you. You can't hide personal negligence behind the company. If you run a trucking business and personally drive a truck while texting, causing a collision, you can be sued personally along with the LLC. The same applies if you falsify financial documents, misrepresent your products, or intentionally infringe on intellectual property. Personal guarantees and co-signing. As mentioned earlier, personal guarantees are a major exception. Many lenders, landlords, and vendors require guarantees from small business owners. By signing, you agree to be personally responsible if the company defaults. That means your liability shield doesn't apply to that obligation. Before signing, negotiate the terms or limit your exposure. For example, you might agree to guarantee only the first year of a lease or limit the guarantee to a specific amount instead of the full balance. Failure to separate business and personal finances. If you treat your LLC's bank account like your personal piggy bank, courts may decide that the company is merely an alter ego, an extension of you rather than a separate legal entity. This is called piercing the corporate veil. Judges look at whether you kept proper records, maintained separate accounts, and followed state requirements. If you don't, they might hold you personally liable for company debts. Avoid commingling funds and keep clear documentation to protect yourself. Trust fund taxes and unpaid payroll taxes. When your LLC collects money on behalf of someone else, such as sales taxes or employee payroll taxes, you're acting as a trustee for those funds. If the company fails to remit those taxes, tax authorities can hold you personally responsible. Governments are strict about trust fund taxes because they're considered someone else's money. Always pay these obligations on time and don't use those funds for business expenses. Professional malpractice. If you hold a professional license, such as a doctor, lawyer, or accountant, and you make a mistake while practicing, you can be personally sued for malpractice. An LLC won't shield you from claims of professional negligence. Forming a professional LLC, or PLLC, may be necessary in some states, but even then you still need professional liability insurance. The PLLC structure mainly governs how the business is managed and taxed. It doesn't absolve you of personal responsibility for malpractice, fraud, and illegal acts. Courts will not protect wrongdoers. If you engage in fraudulent or criminal activities through your company, the liability shield crumbles. For example, if you knowingly sell defective products, mislead investors, or participate in a Ponzi scheme, you're personally liable. The LLC cannot be used as a vehicle for illegal conduct. So, with all this knowledge, if you're thinking about starting your first LLC, then we highly recommend LegalZoom. LegalZoom makes it super easy to get started. Let me show you how quickly. Just click the link down below in the description to get started and click on Start My Business and click on Start My LLC right here. From here, you go ahead and type in the name of your business. For this example, I'll do Eric's Coffee Shop. You can go ahead and select your state. For this example, I'll go ahead and do Delaware. And then you can go ahead and choose your plan. Now you can go ahead and pause the video right here and look at the different plans on the screen. But as you can see, you can get started for free. All you got to pay is the state filing fees. So let's go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and skip the contact information. Fill out what my coffee shop will do. It's a coffee shop. And we'll go ahead and click next here. And then here we can go ahead and click select plan. Now here's where we can go and get some of the stuff inside of those other more expensive plans for less. For example, we can get the operating agreement, EIN, forms, and e-sign for $199, which is about $50 cheaper than the other plan. So we'll go ahead and select that. And you can go ahead and either select one of these options to get started with the business bank account or click no thanks. I'm going to skip the expedited processing and skip the founder's kit. And then as you can see, for $339, you can go ahead and get started with an LLC. In this example, in Delaware, that comes with an operating agreement, EIN, legal forms, and e-sign. So again, an LLC won't protect you from everything, but it'll protect you from a lot. Use LegalZoom to get started. LLC liability protection is a powerful tool for entrepreneurs, but like any tool, it must be used correctly. It provides a shield against many business-related liabilities, debts, contracts, and the wrongful acts of others, keeping your personal assets separate. Yet that shield has limitations. It doesn't cover personal wrongdoing, negligence, unpaid trust fund taxes, or obligations you personally guarantee. Can also be weakened by commingling funds or ignoring formalities. The best way to maximize your protection is through a combination of proper business practices and supplemental safeguards like insurance. Understand the rules, stay compliant with state requirements, separate your finances, and think twice before signing personal guarantees. Doing so not only protects you, but also portrays your business as legitimate and trustworthy to customers, lenders, and partners. By understanding what LLC liability protection covers and what it doesn't, you can make informed decisions that support your business's growth while safeguarding your personal assets. Now, if you want to get started with setting up your LLC or holding company, you'll find the links for LegalZoom and other products that we recommend down in the description below. These are affiliate links, which means we earn a small commission when you use it at no extra cost to you. And these commissions really help support the channel and allow us to continue to create free content just like this. So if you end up using it, we really appreciate it. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Here on the LLC channel, we cover everything you need to know about forming, managing, and scaling your LLC or holding company, plus some smart tax strategies and business tips to help you grow. So be sure to subscribe. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you here in the next video.